then we're going to contest.
What's up, kids? With February coming and January ending, we have this contest going on right now where the person who does the best can I say that right? The best caricature of myself and Mr. Sam Vera gets some really cool stuff. So if you want to get down with the get down, send us your submissions. Do a caricature of us two knuckleheads, and the best one gets some swag. So send us those submissions. You can DM me at Medina Whip on Instagram or at Catch the Craze on Instagram or even on Facebook. Go to our Facebook fan page and check us out there. All right? Good.
We're back. I like this hook. You got a book you want to tell us about? Well, let's talk. There's no other place to do it. Only on Catch the Craze. Catch the Craze. Welcome to Catch the Craze podcast. I am your host with the most, Sam the Crazy Man Vera, and I am with
George, the Dreamer, Medina.
Say what?
Wow. Yo, let me tell you something. Those skits that we have coming for everybody, they're gonna be great. Crazy Man Vera.
Let me tell you something.
Carrie, what's going
up?
on, man? What's going
What's
on?
going down, James Brown?
Not much. Same old. We got another episode of Catch the Craze.
Yes, I don't even know what number it is.
Yeah, but this is our second
Word.
show of the month.
And we have a guest on today.
Absolutely, and we definitely have a guest on today.
And that guest is
G.E. Gallas.
Yes.
Writer and
Episode 171.
illustrator.
Yes.
171. Look at that.
There you go.
Man, 171. We started this at 150, the brand new ones. You know, I meant to ask you that. Why did we...
I got screwed.
Why did you start at 150? I know you had... I know there was a... This is the... what do you call it?
So...
We're rebooting.
Originally recorded 149 shows.
Mm-hmm.
I uploaded a percentage of those shows to the new platform. So because I know that there's a difference I still have to upload that I haven't transferred over from the archives in case anybody's interested in the archives. There were some good shows. Mm-hmm. So I just started us at 150 to make it an even to continue on where we left off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I almost thought it would be something like Volume 2, Episode 1. You know what I mean? Like the other one was Volume 1.
Luke, I'm your father.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Star Wars. I'm not that.
Yeah,
bright.
like
I'm
a
not
Star
that,
Wars.
I'm not
Yeah,
that
yeah.
brilliant, you know. I'm just saying, you know. I love how he comes from the left and says, you know, Sam. You know,
After 21 episodes, should we have started from number 1?
Yeah, he's acting up.
No. So 171.
No.
171.
Yes.
171.
171. Yes. So we have that guest on today, and we also have a topic we're going to be discussing.
Yeah, so we're gonna have the guest is G.E. Gallas.
Yes.
Just a little bit more about G.E. Gallas. She's a writer and illustrator of a book called The Plague and Dr. Kane.
Yes. Which she currently has a crowdfunding for.
She's got a crowdfunding campaign on her website.
On her website.
gegallas.webnode.com.
Yes.
It's up on the screen right now.
This is the website right here.
That's the website. Check it out.
Yes, it's gegallas.webnode.com.
Yep. So check that out. And we'll have her on. She'll be calling in a few, and we'll discuss a little. She's very interesting. Just reading her bio and things like that. You know, she went to NYU.
Amazing background.
Yeah. Very. She speaks Japanese.
Yes.
Very good. So I can't wait to have her on the show, and so she can enlighten us a little bit about this book that she's got out now.
Word.
But we also have, like we always do every week, we have our Get Your Meds.
Get Your
Medinas. Our weekly segment, Get Your Meds. And today's topic is contraband. To sell or not to sell. Contraband.
To sell or not to
now,
sell?
Just so you know, contraband. We're not talking about drugs. We're not talking about any of that stuff.
We used to have controversial corner, didn't we?
Controversy corner.
We used to have controversy corner back in the days. I guess Craze. Yes.
We should be bringing that back.
Yes, we had a lot of stuff back in the days.
That's good.
Yes, see?
Wow, live.
Maybe tinking.
There you go.
Yes.
Anyway, so contraband. When we talk about contraband at a show, and this is specifically like at a convention, things like that.
My cats.
Contraband is things or images, prints, things of that nature of the major companies, Marvel, DC, Image, things of that nature.
Basically, their property, their images being bootlegged.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Contraband.
That's contraband.
Now, the phrase was coined by a friend of mine, and you know him too. His name is Victor Claudio.
Okay.
Yeah. One time we because
he actually did the colors for
Forbidden.
one of the Forbidden books.
Yeah, for Forbidden. So we were having this conversation about what to have at the table, what to sell. And he was like, and I think that, I don't know if it was somebody brought in some comics to sell like on the side. Like, hey, you think we could sell these comics at the table? Like old comics that they had.
Right.
And he was like, dude, that's contraband. You can't sell that on the table. That's contraband.
You need a vendor permit.
Well, there you go. So it's not even legal.
You didn't do it right.
Exactly. So what this topic today is, I've seen it for a while, and it's been going on for years, where independent artists, will have prints made up of, whether it's, Deadpool movie came out, we have a Deadpool print on the table. Batman movie came out, we'll have a Batman. The Joker's out now, Joker prints all over the place. And so, as an independent artist and publisher, I was always, and I'm gonna sound like, oh, come on, man, I was always against it, dude. Like, I don't know. I feel like if we're pushing our product, if we work hard on these pages and these books and printing and money, and we go ahead and give the big two free publicity, because it's what it is, free publicity for them. Because when you go to the table and somebody's selling a print of your favorite character, if it happens to be Spider-Man, what are you going to buy? Are you going to spend your $5 or your $10 on that Spider-Man print, or are you going to spend that money on the book that person just worked on?
Spider-Man, Spider-Man.
Right? Like, who would you, like, honestly, what are you going to do? $10. What am I going to do? Give this guy a chance? Or?
Do you know I'd have to walk away from the mic for a second just to show you guys? Hold on. You can continue, George.
Okay.
I haven't done this before, but I have to.
All right, cool. I don't know what you're reaching for, because this is you always surprise me.
So you said
always these little surprises for me. Oh,
George said Spider-Man, so this is what my team got me as a gift.
Wait, is it story time already?
Story time. So my team for Christmas.
Wait, you got to go to your screen. Your
yes, I had to go to my screen. Where's my screen? I scream, you scream.
There you go.
My team for Christmas got me this amazing Spider-Man, signed, sealed, signed by Stan Lee. Number 200, grade 9.8, certificate of authenticity, with John Romita Jr. cover, Jim Mooney, Keith Pollard, art, Stanley, Marvin Wolfman story, Origin of Spider-Man.
What number is that?
Our 200th issue anniversary spectacular. So it's a double-sized, double the thrills, the Amazing Spider-Man Marvel Comics Group. So this is fantastic. So if you say I have to choose between Spider-Man and an indie comic, I'm choosing Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Look at that. I don't know. Can I see it over here?
Let's go to your Georgie Porgy foot. Wait, rear? Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Just the light is sitting.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that thing.
That is freaking fantastic.
That's awesome, dude.
Yes. Wow. Yes, I was taken aback when
75 cents. I wonder how much that was worth now, right?
Oh,
yeah.
I looked
money.
It up.
Yeah,
it's money.
Good stuff. Well, see, that's what okay, you probably wouldn't have that at the table. But if you had a print with that cover on it or something, whatever, you're creating competition. Right. And it's illegal.
It's illegal.
It's not legal. I was because I was like, dude, this can't be legal. And I was reading up on when Disney bought Marvel, right? Because if you go to a convention or if you go to any one of these art shows, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I've never seen it. I read that you won't find prints of, say, Donald Duck, Mickey Mouse. You really,
no,
it's
you don't.
very
Disney
rare.
controls that.
Because Disney's
and they
like,
come down on you.
You're not doing that. You can't sell prints of art. So they won't you won't see it.
They don't play.
So when Disney bought
Acquired.
Marvel,
Oh, they started shutting it
people
down.
thought that they were going to say, okay, you know what? Not only can you not do prints, you can't do commissions with our characters, and you can't sell anything that's not ours unless you have the license for it.
Right.
Disney did it. Disney said, listen, it's a comic book. We're gonna let it rock. But if you're making too much money, they're gonna come after you. So they let it rock if you're like a nobody and you're like, oh, you're just doing that. That's cute. But if you're really making some serious money off of their stuff, they're gonna shut that down.
Making some cheddar.
So yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And yeah, because money talks.
Yes.
So I was reading up on that, and I found that I mean, we probably know this already, but I don't think that a lot of conventions enforce it. They'll just it's
It all
like
depends.
that's on you. If you get
depends,
caught out there selling that stuff and that's illegal, it wasn't because we allowed it. It was because you just brought it into the show.
You'll find at the big shows like New York Comic Con, San Diego Comic Con, where they actually have their police. So they have their own crew that goes out and looks to see if anybody's trying to capitalize on their brands. And they go and they shut you down at the tables. They tell you to remove it or you'll be removed.
Correct. Yeah. So if you're printing out, 100, you have 100 prints of a character that is not your intellectual property, you could be in trouble for selling that stuff.
You're playing a dangerous game.
Yeah. So why do it? It's not it's not what you're really trying to sell.
That's not the format for it.
You know what I mean?
That's not the place for it if you're not a vendor.
And some artists, and if, the discussion's open on our YouTube channel, if you want to write a comment and say you guys are jerks, you don't know what you're talking about or whatever. Well, I mean, I welcome it. I don't know about you.
I know what I'm talking about.
but
yes,
it's just, to me personally, yes. I don't think that that you should do it. Not just because it's illegal, but also because it's like, what are you doing? Like, if you're really trying to sell your own stuff, if you're really trying to promote your book,
yes,
why are you putting that on the table?
You'll find people who are not confident in their product, so they need to try to make up revenue.
Well, it's definitely trying to make up that revenue. Yes, for sure. Absolutely.
Right? Because I think if you're not really confident in your ability to sell it, and you're going to try to find the next best thing, right? Well, name brand, this has notoriety. I should be able to push this pretty quickly. Yeah. Hopefully under the radar, nobody notices. Right. You're playing a bad game.
I think that a lot of it, and some artists may say, well, you know what? It's a means to an end. So we want to get foot traffic. Let's give them the eye candy. Let's drive them into the table without even having to say anything. Let's just get them to the table. Once they get them to the table, we got them hooked. Boom. Now we hit them with the, hey, by the way, I have this.
Bait and switch.
Right. And that may work. And that may very well work. And you may be so charismatic that you may be able to sell both things. Right. Okay. But if you are so charismatic that you're able to sell both things, then use that charisma to get them to the table without the eye candy. Yep. And eliminate the middleman. Like, forget about that print. Yep. And go after it with what you have at the table. Yes. Because I think that's what you want to sell.
But not only that, if I'm a vendor and I happen to be walking past and I see you selling products and you're in Artist Alley, right, I'm going straight to the promoter and saying, yo, what's going on over here? Yeah. Right? Shut that down. He's in competition with me. He doesn't have a license. He didn't get the permit. He didn't buy the real estate. Right. He's trying to, get one over on us. Right. So that you got to also consider that.
Yeah, no, I know a guy, who, and I won't say
he knows a lot of people,
obviously, yes, but he was making so much money at a show with prints and stuff like that, based on other intellectual properties, that they literally told him, hey, listen, cut it out. You're not allowed to sell that anymore. Cease and desist right now, because he was making that money, and he was doing it well. Like, he had stuff that they hadn't even thought about. And that's why they were so, like, he had these like posters that did, like, they glue in the dark and they did all kinds of crazy stuff. It looked so good, man. So good that they were like, why didn't we think of that? This guy's capitalizing on something that we should have thought of. And they said, nope, shut it down. You can't sell that anymore. And he had to, because what are you going to do? Get kicked out of the show?
So then what did he have as a backup?
Other stuff that he sold. So, it was, in other words, there's ways around it as far as stuff that is, if it after a certain amount of time, the copyright is gone, right? So, like, for example, if you decided to sell a poster, of Edgar Allan Poe's, The Raven or something like that, something that the property has already, that stuff has expired, and then you could just sell it. Obviously, or, Alice in Wonderland, things like that, like stuff that people may still want to buy, but there isn't really any, or something that somebody hasn't come after you, or it doesn't belong to the person who just is your mic. Okay.
He's acting up.
It's your mic. Okay. So I thought it was interesting. I was like, why do we do this to ourselves? Why do we give Marvel and DC the shine that they already have?
Insecurity. You're not confident in your product. What brought you to the convention in the first place? Why aren't you confident in your product? Why aren't you confident in your ability to promote it? Why do you feel that you have to sell out? Because that's basically what you're doing. And people pick up on it. You know what I'm saying? So why would I even want to waste my time picking up your book if you're spending this whole time dragging me over here to get a Spider-Man book, right? You know what I'm saying? So I think, I don't agree. I think if you want to sell your stuff, get yourself a vendor permit, talk to the, maybe you can't afford a big vendor spot, but you can get a small section. The promoters will work with you. But make sure that you're there genuinely. They know what your intention is.
Yeah.
But it's one or the other. You can't have it both ways.
Well, yeah, I mean, because you have to have the license in order to sell it. In other words, you cannot. I don't know that any convention will say, hey, listen, dude, I have some bootleg prints that I want to sell. Is it okay if I sell? Yeah, even if they give you, if you went up to them and said it, they probably would say no. Right. But if you bought, a spot on the floor that's strictly for that kind of stuff, I think that then they would be okay. I mean, not that they would be okay with it, but they're like, sell whatever you want. Here's, whatever it is, just go ahead. I'm going to be at the East Coast Comic Con in May. Right. Okay. If you look at their contract, or even if you look at how much a table would cost and stuff like that, they have a clause a disclaimer in there that, and not only just a disclaimer, but they mandate that if you are doing an artist alley table, or if you are doing an independent artist or publisher's booth, that the stuff on your table is strictly comics and prints of your stuff. It cannot be T-shirts of other properties. In some cases, they don't even want you to sell T-shirts of your own stuff because they wanted to keep it comic books. It's comic book related. Right. They want to keep it comic book related. They don't want you selling all of these other things. They want you to focus on your comics. If you do want to sell other stuff like T-shirts and things like that, then you're going to get a vendor space, which is more money, and makes sense because you're going to be making more money. Right. So they figure we're going to charge you more money. Yeah. And I don't know if that'll deter some of the independent publishers to kind of like stop selling some of that.
There's going to be some of them that try to get over and say, no one's looking, I can sell my shirts. Yeah. He's like, they're going to look, I got this shirt, you want to buy it? And boom, I take it out the bag. So it's not on display, it's on me. You know what I mean?
And you know what? If it's a T-shirt of your own character, I'm not so much against that because you're promoting your own character. You're promoting, it's like you said, it's a walking billboard.
For promoting your product.
Absolutely.
Whatever you want to do, don't promote the other guy's product if you don't have the rights to it.
Yeah. Exactly. If you don't have the right, well, number one, it's legal. Number two, does it really help? No. Like, who's it helping? It's helping them. Right. Okay, so you'll walk out of there with what, $200-$300 because you sold, 20 prints. Right. But how many books did you sell of your own stuff, and how many books of yours are circulating out there because you sold it to somebody? Right. Right. And now nobody knows about your product, but everybody continues to know about the others. So yeah, I mean, it's a debate. I mean, some people may say, dude, do what you got to do. As it is, you're paying so much money for these tables. If that's your way of making money, do what you got to do.
If you have an opinion and you don't realize what you're doing right now,
you are listening to Catch the Craze.
Have it all set up.
I'm good like that. Yeah, right? I'm good like that. So if you have an opinion on this, let us know. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube. If you're watching the show right now, subscribe to YouTube. Right? Thank you to the 19 new subscribers for 2019. We'd like to triple that number the first part of this year. So if you are a fan of the show, if you've been a guest on this show, subscribe to our YouTube channel, right? So if you like it at all, you want to see this show grow, we work really hard to bring you good content, good guests. Show some love, right?
Definitely. Absolutely. And if you don't feel like subscribing, tell a friend. Tell them to subscribe. And
Yes.
tell your friend to tell a friend. And tell a friend
Yes.
to tell. Just keep it going.
Yes.
Share it. If you see this, I know we post a lot on whether it's Instagram or if it's on Facebook, and you see it up on your page there, share it. Get a share.
Yeah.
Just we're like begging over here.
Yo,
Please.
Toppins. Where did I get that from?
I don't know.
Toppins. Was it Mary Poppins? No, I don't know.
I don't know.
But we also on iHeartRadio, Spotify, we're on TuneIn Radio. We're everywhere. So
wherever you get your podcast, right? You can hear podcasts. We're most likely going to be on that thing.
Yes, and if you're a follower or supporter of Sam the Crazy Man Rivera, I have a new website. It's called iCreateStories.com. And you can get Cast the Craze on the website, and you can also join my community on the website as well. Check it out. All my products and books are on there, and you'll see some behind-the-scenes stuff for Forbidden coming up very soon.
There you go. I was trying to think when we used to do the shows. I don't remember Prince being such a big deal. Do you remember that?
No, it was an add-on. It wasn't a primary.
Yeah.
When we were doing it, I remember when we first started. I mean, no, we did sell quite a bit of the Cosmic Wars and the Rush Prince.
Well, but those were characters.
Those were our characters. Yes.
Yeah,
but I never went out and bought prints.
No, me neither.
I wasn't a print guy.
No.
I was a comic guy.
Yeah.
So I
mean, you have a bunch of prints up on your wall right there.
Of my
stuff. You can
stuff.
see of your stuff, right? And those things were, and for me, if you're selling that, dude, go for it.
Yes.
Sell tons of those things.
And that's what I sell.
I
sell only my stuff. I don't sell somebody else's stuff. It's like, it's not fair to that person. You're taking food off somebody's plate.
Right.
Right? And that you didn't earn. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's it's a double-edged sword for me.
Yeah.
Just if you're gonna do it right now.
Because I know that in a future show,
yes.
we're going to talk about when you came back into the game, and you had what was it on boards on what was it on wooden boards? You drew characters
wooden blocks.
at an anime convention to get kind of the flow going.
Right.
So did that help with the sales of other stuff, or how did that work out?
So, what I realized, I talked about it in a previous show. When I realized I was at the White Plains, what is it? Right, the Comic Con.
Oh, it was the Galleria one. That's what.
Right.
That's what we talked about.
The Galleria, and I realized there was a big cosplay thing, an anime theme going on there, and I was in a spot that wasn't ideal, and I was surrounded by people who were not in my genre. I thought, I'm here. My stuff looks nothing like their stuff. It might be to my advantage. You're right. So I was like, all right, how do I capitalize on what's going on here? Because I need to make my money back. So I started illustrating some of the characters that these kids were looking for. And there was a point where, because I was on, it's a food court where we were on. So you take the stairs into like a lower, like 6 steps down, and I was down there. So there's like a railing above me. So I had people looking over my shoulder to see what I was doing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where you were. But go ahead. I'm just
so I
trying
have
to
a couple. So it's like I'm on this. You take 2 steps, 3 steps, 6 steps down, and I'm sitting in there, and there's rails behind me, and seating where people eat behind you. So it's weird. So people looking over my shoulder, see what I'm drawing, and that's what caught the attention. And then I just started selling. I also sold not just anime characters, but I sold Dick Dastardly, what's it, Muttley, some of the I sold a a bunch of stuff. I sold some Pokemon stuff, some Yu-Gi-Oh stuff, but I illustrated the characters that I illustrated. So I did but that started the conversation to sell my stuff. But I saw more of that than my stuff.
Now that's and that's a thin line, right? Because even though we may say, oh yeah, well if it's just a commission, one-time thing, it's a one of a kind, I can do it. Yes. It's still illegal. It's still not legal. But to me, if you are going to do something to the point where, okay, you know what? Desperation. I not selling anything right now. I can't leave here empty-handed. People are this is just not the right place for me. And you do something like that where you're the artist and you're drawing, your stuff. Okay. So I can see somebody saying, I got to do what I got to do. I can see that.
Yeah.
If
so
it's a commission,
right.
if it's something like
yes,
that.
because I
can see that.
didn't go out and go and reprint somebody else's work. This is my work, and it got to a point where what you find is when you draw a character, I had a couple people come up, can you draw this character?
Right.
I'm like, all right, yeah, sure, boom. And I said, so like, oh, how long is it gonna take? And I'm like, all right, 15, 20 minutes. I'll be back. Well, it's 50% down. Right. I'm not starting this and you never come back. So 50% down. So if they never come back, at least I got 50% of what I'm charging for that commission. But yeah, so then you start getting requests. And then it becomes what it is. But then I also had my portfolio of all the other sketch cards for my characters. And so then, Cowboy Duty seems to be a big hit. So I had like 20 renditions of Cowboy Duty.
That you had to draw that in there, or you already had them drawn?
I had 5 drawn. I sold a couple, so I started drawing them again.
Oh, okay.
Just to fill them up because I started, people started picking that.
It's interesting what people buy sometimes,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Like you just never know.
You
have a whole bunch of stuff. You have a whole book that you're ready to sell.
Yes.
They're like, nah, I don't want the book, but I'll take that sketch card.
Yes.
Yes. So, I mean, listen, again, it's up for debate whether or not you feel like, yes, that is the right thing to do, or no, I shouldn't do it anymore.
Right.
But for me, you have to decide, right? Mm-hmm. Am I going to be that guy that at every convention just sits down and draws other people's characters? Or am I going to be that independent publisher who wants to put their product out and promote it?
But it's more important that you understand the convention you're going to and who that target market is. And I think because I didn't do my homework on this place, it was because a friend of mine, Ray Felix, said, hey, why don't you do this show? Because I was at the Kids Comic Con prior, a week before. Yeah. And he says, why don't you do this show? I'll be there. And so I did it. I said, let me do it. And I didn't realize that it wasn't my niche market. So, again, it's making sure that you understand who your audience is.
Right.
So this way you have a better chance of success there.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, either way, you just got to remember that, and we call it contraband jokingly, but it essentially, it's illegal, and you probably shouldn't do it. But
no, don't do it.
Yeah, don't print out 100 copies of a print and then sell it because you're the artist. You think it's okay. It's not.
Don't do it.
Don't have the license.
Don't do it.
You don't have the license. Marvel doesn't know you're doing this.
Nope.
And if they find out, they're gonna tell you to cease and desist. Now, if you want to be that rebel, like I don't care, all right, go for it. But then your books are suffering too, because if you're an independent publisher,
they're going to say shut it down. And why would you want to be embarrassed?
Yes, or don't come back to the convention anymore. Yes. Get out.
Yes.
And now, what happens? Who
wants the embarrassment?
I mean, I don't know that that's going to go to
I'm
that
not going to
but,
con to get embarrassed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want to go to con to make money.
Well, yeah. Well, but you know what? They may say, well, yeah, that's the way I'm making money.
That's the way, I like it.
It's one of those things. It's one of those things. But yes, that is Get Your Meds.
Get Your Medinas.
Thank you for listeing. And if you have any ideas.
It was the topics, the contraband. That's right. It's get the Medinas.
Get the meds. And if you do have an idea for a topic and you want to shoot it over, send it our way. You can go to iCreateComics.com. You can go to MedinaWhip.com or MedinaWhip on Instagram, or catch the Craze on Instagram. Send us a message, and we'll put that together.
And remember, Med spells backwards as Sam does everything masterfully. Just say,
Holy cow. I'm going to have to get rid of that. I'm going to have to change that.
It's just like,
get your Medis.
I remember when back, if you know our story, when New Edition broke up, and Ralph Transfans went solo. And then you still had Bell Biv and DeVoe, and they came up with Mass Media. I say, oh man, it's flattering. They have Sam backwards.
It's always backwards. You're the devil. Yeah. It's always backwards. It's like playing a record backwards. That's what it is. He's always around. That's kind of scary. It's creepy. It's kind of scary. I'll find you.
Yes,
that's you.
Yes.
Crazy.
1, 2, Freddy's coming for you.
Nice.
3, 4. That was scary. When Nightmare on Elm Street first came out, the first one, that was scary.
Yeah, it's weird because Elm Street, I think people now, it's hard to scare people. It's hard to scare me.
Yes.
I don't. But you're right. When those movies came out, like the Jasons, like the Friday the 13th, you know what I mean? Like and like
Camp Crystal Lake.
what? Jason
Hallow-
Voorhees,
Halloween. What?
like that kind of stuff. It was scary, bro. We're like, yo, what the hell? I remember when Child's Play came out. Chucky, like
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Chucky was scary,
Yo.
but now it's like joke.
I never wanted
It's
to
a
buy my
joke.
buddy because he looked like Chucky.
Remember my buddy?
Yes.
My buddy.
Wherever I go,
Yeah,
he goes.
Yeah,
Yo.
kid sister. Remember
Yes,
kid sister?
Kid sister.
No, but
Yeah.
you're right. Those movies were scary.
Yeah.
Now you're like,
I was screwed.
yeah. What about The Exorcist? The Exorcist scare you?
That Exorcist, and what I'll guess is a call in a minute.
Yeah,
but
she's gonna call
Exorcist.
in a
My uncles turned off all the lights in the house. We were kids. We had one uncle under the bed. They were playing The Exorcist. But at the time when her head spinning around and all that stuff, whatever, they started shaking the beds, noise,
Get
window.
outta
Me
here.
and my sister hightailed it, ran up the
Savages.
Yo,
They
yes,
were-
traumatized.
Yeah,
Traumatized.
That's child abuse, bro. You
Yes,
should.
yes. Conjunction, junction. What's your function?
Do you like scary movies now, or no? You don't like
Nah,
it?
I'm not into it.
Really?
Nope.
That's why
I like comedy.
you like.
I
comedy.
love to laugh.
I love scary movies. There's just like movies really don't scare me now.
I
It's
love to
sad.
laugh. I don't want to get screwed.
That is your favorite
Yes.
of comedies.
If that phone rings, I'm going straight to commercials, just like you guys
Yes,
know.
yes.
So if you see me, which commercial am I doing? Oh yeah, don't stop acting up.
Yeah.
So yes, but yeah. What was the other one? Not Dawn of the Dead. Not Texas Chainsaw Massacre. No,
Hellraiser,
no.
Pinhead,
They have a spinoff with the guy with the
Scream,
with the buzzsaw.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Is that what you're talking
No. Freaking A. I just had it in my head.
about? Spinoff.
They had a spin-off in the woods, in the cabin, under the floor. And then he had a spin. His arm got cut off, and then he put the damn chainsaw on his arm. And he has a spin-off. The Army of Darkness. What was the name of it?
Yeah, I think it is. Isn't that Army of Darkness? Is
Army
that-
of Darkness was a spin-off.
Oh, it was a spinoff.
Oh, remember Phantasm? Boy.
Phantasm. No, I don't.
He's
even
carrying the
think-
coffin.
No.
Oh, my God. Oh,
There
here
it
we go.
is.
Hold on.
Caller.
Commercial time.
Why are we hiding? I'm not hiding. I'm trying to catch it. Oh, what are we catching? What are we gonna catch? I'm trying to catch the craze. Catch the craze. The what? The craze? Like the disco craze? No. No. What are you wearing? What do you mean, what am I wearing? What are you wearing? Fresh. No one says fresh anymore. Why you acting up? I'm not acting up. You acting up. Come on, man. Stop acting up. Candy girl. Welcome back to Catch the Craze. We have a special guest on the phone, G.E. Gallas. Welcome.
Hi, yeah, thank you for having me.
How you doing, GE? This is George Medina. How's everything?
Good, how are you?
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much for giving us some of your time and speaking with us here at Catch the Craze.
Yeah, no problem.
So yeah, George and I were looking through your website a few minutes ago, and I know you reached out to me. You want to promote your crowdfunding, but your history is pretty interesting. So we want to go back before we go forward. Were you born in New York?
No, I wasn't. I was born actually in Washington, D.C.
Oh wow. So
Yeah.
tell us about that experience. How did you end up in NYU, and what made you decide that this was the career path for you?
Yeah, I guess it was kind of like a long process to figure out that I wanted to go to NYU. I was actually started freshman year at Smith College, and it just wasn't quite the right place for me. And my older sister, went to NYU Tisch for, that's theater, and she's a director and costume designer. And it didn't really ever cross my mind to go to NYU, but she was like, oh, well, NYU has Gallatin, which is their school of individualized study. So you can basically make any major you can possibly imagine you can do. And that just kind of fit with what I was doing, because it's not many places that you can kind of combine all your interests into one major. So I kind of ended up majoring in what I call cross-cultural storytelling, where different countries and different mediums like film, graphic novels, literature, etc., and combining all of that together.
Interesting. How did you become I guess interested in those mediums? Like, what was it when you were a little girl? What sparked that interest in, film, literature, graphic novels? What was it that did that for you?
Yeah, I think I've always been interested in characters, like a story and stories in general. I think that like stories are made by their characters, and I was always just creating my own characters, and then the stories would come to encompass those characters. So that's kind of where I started, and also that's kind of where I continue to grow in that area.
Yeah. Did you once you graduated from NYU, what did you get into after that? Because I was reading here that you speak Japanese, and me and Sam were like, "Wow, she's like, you speak Japanese." It's just so. So what happened? What after NYU, or was that something that you always good at languages?
Well, yeah, I was always interested in Japanese language and culture. I had friends in elementary school who were from Japan, and even from elementary school, I was like to my mom and dad, like, please buy me an English Japanese dictionary, and they bought one for me, and I would like learn various words from the dictionary. And then in high school, my high school didn't offer Japanese, so I begged my parents to let me take Japanese lessons outside of school. So yeah, I've always been really interested in Japanese, and I haven't really had a chance yet to put it into my comics so far, but I do want to do some like historic Japanese graphic novels in the future.
Yeah. That's incredible. And that's part of like what we were talking about with Sam. I was like, wow, that's really, really interesting. And then, you've been to the Blake Society in London. You spoke there. Yale University School of Drama and Germanna College in Virginia. You spoke there about your work. Tell us a little bit about those experiences and how you were invited to those places.
Yeah, all of them were kind of like, I guess, lucky coincidences. I guess is the best way to describe it. I was going. So I'll start with the Blake Society. I did like kind of this internship program at the Cannes Film Festival one year, and so I was like, well, I'm going to be in Europe, like I'm in France, so I might as well like stop over a few days in the UK to do some Blake research.
Right.
And so I emailed the Blake Society going like, oh, what's the best places to go for Blake? Like, I really want to see everything that I can. And they were like, you're going to be in London. Great. Come and talk.
Wow. Wow.
So that was a really cool experience, because they're very laid back at the Blake Society. And even though they're very passionate about Blake, and it was really cool because the talk itself was in one of Blake's flats.
Wow.
So it was like his spirit almost was
That's
there.
Incredible. Yeah, you must have had like goosebumps like as soon as you stepped into that place, right? Jeez.
Yeah, but it also is like sad because on the first floor is like a waxing salon. It's just like, I don't think Blake would necessarily appreciate that.
Oh my God, that is so funny. So wait, were you there? Were you there at the time when you said you were doing? Was it research for the Poet and the Flea, the other graphic novel that you have about William Blake?
Yeah, so that was back in 2013.
Hmm.
And yeah, so I went and not only went to the various museums, like the Tate has a lot of Blake's, and the British Museum has like a drawing department, drawings and illustrations. So I got to go in there and see some Blake firsthand, but also just going to like uh, places associated with Blake, like the graveyard where he's buried, and
Wow.
like the church where he was baptized.
Hmm.
Like a lot of different, like I basically made a self tour of various Blake sites around London, and it
Yeah.
was really amazing.
Wow, that sounds amazing. I definitely. I mean, I want to go out to England myself. But I'm fascinated with the story of Jack the Ripper, and like there's just so much
Yes,
old. There's just so much history in
yes,
in
for
that part of the
sure.
world. It's like it's incredible. But and again,
Yeah.
reading all of your accomplishments here. Now you have a few graphic novels that you've worked on. So The Poet and
hmm
the Flea is one of them. Can you tell us a little bit about what The Poet and the Flea is about?
Sure, yeah. So I call it a reimagining of Blake's life, because it's not a straight biography, but it certainly draws on a lot of the true facts about Blake, but at the same time also drawing on his imagination, because he had such a vivid imagination, and he thought that he saw angels. He claims he saw angels, and and really he saw ghosts, and really the only kind of
Wow.
evil thing he claimed to see was this creature called the ghost of a flea, which, even though it's a flea, it's like this large, blood curdling, creepy thing.
Wow.
so so in the comic, the poet is Blake, and
Yeah,
the flea is the ghost
it's
of
the
a flea,
ghost.
and that's the main antagonist of the comic.
Wow, yeah, no. And then so then you also have one called Pawn My Soul. Tell us a
hmm
little bit about that one.
Yeah, that one too has some historic elements to
Hmm.
it. It's about a sin eater, and sin eaters were real people. It's not like they don't have any records of like specific people who were sin eaters, but um, they know that there were these people who were kind of ostracized from society, probably in Europe, maybe in America too,
Right.
and they were hired to, when someone died, they were hired and paid to say that they would take on the sins of the person who died.
Wow.
So that kind of the main character of Pawn My Soul is a sin eater, and she's like dealing with being ostracized from her village, and like being suspected of things that she's innocent.
Right.
And it's very also fairy tale like, I would say, the
Yeah.
comic.
Wow. And then so now I'm going to get to the to your latest, right? This is your latest book, The
Yeah.
Plague and Dr. Kane. Now that is the one that's on your website right now that's currently being funded. You're doing a crowdfunding campaign for it. Tell us a little
Yep.
bit about The Plague and Dr. Kane. And then once you tell us what there's about, I just want to know a little bit about your writing process. So tell us a little bit about The Plague and Dr. Kane first.
Okay. Yeah. So that one I wanted to write something about a plague doctor, because there are a lot of plague doctors that show up in various comic books, and people have plague doctor tattoos, and people cosplay as plague
Hmm.
doctors,
Yeah.
and they kind of take on this like supernatural magic abilities. So I wanted to kind of strip that back to like the facts of what the plague doctor was. So there aren't really any specific historical figures
Right.
that were plague doctors. So it's kind of Dr. Kane is my character that's
Mm,
taking on all of the historical facts of what a plague doctor would do back
gotcha.
in the day. So they would wear this costume, the beak to kind of, it was like, I think unintentionally like a precursor to a hazmat suit, where
Right.
maybe it did kind of protects them a little bit from the plague.
Yeah.
And they would do bloodletting, and put leeches on people and try all sorts of weird medicines, like ground emeralds to swallow. They thought that would
Jeez.
cure the plague. So a lot of like strange, this Dr. Kim is really a dark comedy, and the humor comes from the treatments and the strange things that these plague doctors did that they thought would help cure the plague.
I see. Wow. Yeah. You say that, and then I remember like my nephews did. One of them. I think when he was 13 years old, that's what he wanted to be. He wanted to be a plague doctor. That was his costume, and I'm like, where are you getting this from? Like, you want to be a plague doctor? Like, and then sure enough, you had the beak and the hat, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool.
That's
But,
great. That's funny.
yeah, but tell me a little bit about your writing process. So you have these, and I love the premise of these stories because they're very. I'm big into like historical epics, right? Epic stories that are historical. So I like a lot of that stuff. How do you go out there, like the research that you do? Tell us a little bit about your writing process.
Sure, yeah. I guess like I always start kind of with what I call the seed of an idea, where it's like, oh, plague doctor, or oh, William Blake, and then I might write a little bit of a script first, and then I'll go and research. So I'll just read books and the internet, and if there is a museum that I can go to, I'll do that. Or if there's like a historic place I can go to, I'll do that. And then I kind of do it where I do the writing process first. I kind of fill in many details as I can in the script and I write a lot of notes about how I think something should be drawn, or like what needs to be drawn. And then I'll do I'll when the script is done, then I'll do thumbnails. So I kind of plan out all the pages, and like how the images flow together from page to page is very important to me. So it's definitely like many steps to get to the finished product.
Right. Well, and another question that I have for you, as far as the process goes, do you ever find yourself just kind of like thumbnailing, say scenes, for example, before you actually write them? And because you are the artist and the writer, you kind of have that liberty to do that?
I would say that I don't really do that, but I do like sketch certain things. Like it might not be a thumbnail per se, but I definitely will like do some maybe character sketches before the script, or during writing the script, or I also do a lot of not just factual research is one thing, like written down research is one thing, but also visual research is really important, because I make sure like the costumes, the clothing are historically accurate. I save a lot of images to try to get a certain aesthetic that I want, because all of my different comics really have, like, I do have a certain drawing style, but I also try to have a unique aesthetic for each story that fits the story.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm actually looking at the cover of The Plague and Dr. Kane. Now, it was that it almost looks like it was watercolored. What is your medium? What do you use?
Yeah, I actually did use watercolor, but I do kind of a mixture of traditional art and digital art. For that, I drew it by hand, the line art, and then I scanned it, and I had like watercolor samples that I scanned, and so I just kind of like used Photoshop to get that watercolor effect. But like it's real watercolor that I scanned, but then I like cut it into the line art.
No, I see it. So so the background is the watercolor, and then your line work kind of pasted it in front of it in Photoshop. It actually works very well. Actually, that's nice.
Thank you. Yeah.
Did you do the same for the interiors, or?
With the interiors, I used a watercolor to get that like old paper effect, and then I used Photoshop to like get those solid colors. But I also used the eyedropper in Photoshop, because I take the colors directly from like old illuminated manuscripts, so they're like specific colors that I'm trying to use.
That's amazing. Yeah, no, that's good. How long does it take you to say, for example, complete a page?
That's always a difficult question to figure out because I kind of don't do everything at once.
Right.
So like I'll like do a batch of the line art, for instance, which I draw by hand, and then it takes me a while to like scan everything, and then
Right.
it takes a while to like color it. I mean,
Mhm.
definitely good number of hours going
Yeah.
to each page, I would say.
Wow. Wow. So now the crowdfunding campaign for this particular graphic novel, I was just
hmm
reading on your website that it will be published by Unbound, which is a London-based publisher, and they actually do the crowdfunding for you. Is that how that works? How does that work?
Yeah, so like for instance, I for the Poet and the Flea Volume 1, I did a Kickstarter for that, and
Mhm.
so that was all self-published by me,
Right.
and I had to get it printed,
Yeah.
and I had to distribute it all myself.
Mm.
But with Unbound, so they once it's 100% funded,
Mhm.
they'll be the ones. I have an editor, so I can send them my work, and then maybe we'll do some editing, and
Right.
then they're the ones who will have it printed, and they're the ones who will distribute the rewards. So I don't really have
Ah.
to worry about any of that stuff.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Well, that takes, yeah, because like you said, in the process of like crowdfunding your own campaign and then, like you said, getting it printed, it's a lot of work and there's a lot that goes
It is.
into it. You're not just, now you're not just creating, you're actually your own, you're a business now. And now you have to do all these
Exactly.
different, wear these different hats where all you want to do is create, I'm sure. So
Yes,
then
that is very true.
on your website, I see that there's a link to support the project. What the folks at home are going to click on is the for more information, please click here at the bottom rather than the support this project button. So if you're trying to click the support this project button, it's probably not going to work. We have to click the for more information, click here
Yeah, well, and you
link,
can
right?
also go, if you want, you can go to Unbound's website, which is just unbound.com, and
Okay.
type into the search like either my name, D.E. Gallas,
Mhm.
or the Plague and Doctor team, and it'll come up.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I'm definitely going to check that out. Now, how long is the campaign going to be out for? Until when? Did they
Um,
give you a date?
yeah, it's that's kind of one of the interesting things about Unbound is that there's no time limit. It's just
Oh,
we have to reach 100%.
cool. Cool. So it could be up there for as long as it reaches 100%. Oh,
Exactly.
that's amazing. All right. Cool. So there is
And they have
no
a
time
bunch
frame.
of they have a bunch of really amazing other graphic novels on Unbound.
Right.
So like definitely I encourage people to look at hopefully mine, but also the other graphic novels on Unbound are really amazing.
That's amazing. Now, so that's how we will be able to get this book. How can we get your other titles?
Yeah, I actually, the website that you've been looking at is
Mhm.
brand new. So
Okay.
I've kind of integrated everything. I used to have a store envy and all of this, but now with my new website, that's my online store too. So it's just
Nice.
gegallas.com, and you can go to, like, there's a tab that says more, and you can press store. And so
Okay.
all my graphic novels and zines and comics are up there.
Sweet. Oh, that's awesome. GE, are you working on anything else right now?
Oh, I'm always working on things. I have too many ideas and too little time.
Oh, tell me about it. That's amazing. Well, I can't wait to see them. I'm definitely going to check out the website. You're on Instagram, you're on Twitter, right? On
Yeah.
Facebook. So tell us where to find you. What are your the names on these websites?
Yes. So Twitter is at GE Gallas. Instagram is the Poet and the Flea, and Facebook I think is also GE Gallas. So
Sweet.
it's pretty easy to find me.
It definitely is, and we'll definitely push this and help you get to that 100%. I'm actually gonna donate myself because I definitely want to read this
Oh,
book.
thank you so much.
Yeah, and I appreciate you coming on the show. I know that you reached out to Sam, and I thank you so much for doing that.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.
No problem. Sam, did you want to?
No, again, thank you again for reaching out.
Yeah.
This show will be posted. I'll send you the link once it's posted, and
Awesome.
then we'll go from there. So I truly appreciate your support, and I think you really have a good product, and definitely put a lot of effort into it, and you can see it. It shines through.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to sharing the podcast with everybody.
Yeah, definitely. Your episode will actually air on February 14th.
Yes.
So
Awesome. Okay.
so
Good
that
to know.
a lot of love there. A lot of love.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, GE.
Plague for Valentine's Day.
Exactly.
Oh, there you go.
GE, thank you so much. And we'll definitely talk soon.
Awesome.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Too. Bye.
We're back. I like this hook. You got a book you want to tell us about?
All right, we're back. That was a really good interview.
Yeah.
I was truly impressed by the dedication, the research, the passion. It was really good.
Dude, I love that stuff. I definitely, I'm a big fan of like when stories are not just not just sci-fi or not just fiction, but when they're based on something
Yes.
real, something that really happened. And I love the fact that she was out in London. She did all these, she researched, went to the house and wow. And did all that stuff for William Blake. And
Yes.
yeah, you got to fix that, bro.
Yeah, no, there you go.
There you go.
I'm good.
Yeah, no, so definitely for anybody who's interested, again, her website is gegallis.webnode.com. Go on there on her homepage. She's got the link to unbound.com. And when you click on that link, you're going to go to the website where you can actually pledge. And the interesting thing about this crowdfunding campaign is that it's never ending. It's until they reach the 100% mark.
That's fascinating.
Which is kind of cool because as long as you promote it and get it up, you know what I mean. So
I'll take nickels and pennies. Let's make it
definitely,
happen.
so definitely go check that out and
Yes.
definitely donate. Help her reach the 100% mark because I definitely want to see this book in print.
Yes.
And
with that,
yeah.
with that said, if you watch the show, if you're a supporter of Catch the Craze, if you're a supporter of G.E. Gallas, subscribe to our channel, YouTube channel at youtube.com/Catch the Craze. I am Sam, the Crazy Man Vera.
And I am George, the Dreamer, Medina. Get your meds and stop acting up. Peace.
Stop acting up.
It's just easy. It's not.
Crazy. I'm so crazy. You so crazy.
Acquiesce.
Crazy.
No, it's talking about my friend Aquise. Say my name, right?
This is what you were thinking? Oh,
You are listening to
He described me. He said, I'm the...
You're listening to Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. To Catch the Craze. You are listening to Catch the Craze on Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze.